Eagles win 34-28 last night against the Minnesota Vikings for the home opener. We're live from Mexico again here today on Train the AM. We're going to break down the good and the bad from last night's Eagles victory. So stay tuned. Train the AM on Philadelphia Sports Network starts in 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. We're live, Facebook, YouTube. You know the drill. Hit the like button, the share button, the subscribe button. It's free to do it. It does not cost you a thing to hit that share button and that like button. So make sure you do that for me. I'm your host, Phil Stiefel, here at Trending in the AM, the only sports show where your opinions actually matter. And I'm sure you've got a lot of opinions coming out of Eagles' win last night against the Minnesota Vikings. Wasn't pretty the entire time, but a win is a win, kind of. But there's a lot to take away from the game. I'm down here in Cancun, Mexico, watching the game at the sports bar here at the resort. So no sound. So it was a different perspective. So I might not have gotten all the ins and outs of the game down like you guys have. So I'm really going to rely on you guys for your opinions on this show and what really went down last night in South Philly. But like I said, the Eagles beat the Vikings 34-28. I'm trying to pull the box score up here on another screen. They took care of business. They got the win. They're a banged up team, and they took care of business. So there's a lot of positives. There's a lot of negatives. But when it comes down to it, the Eagles got the win. And that is the most important thing, is that the Eagles got the win last night. They're 2-0. They've had a very sketchy start to the season, not what we expected, but big picture, before we talk about the game, we've always talked about how it's so hard to follow up losing in the Super Bowl the next year. We always see it. Super Bowl losing teams always struggle the next year. Well, they have come out and struggled this year, but they found ways to win those games. And that's what great teams do. Great teams always find ways to win. And that's a big part of it right there. So let's take a little bit of a dive deep into this game. And how did the Eagles, come away with it? So it was definitely a very sketchy start, a very slow start offensively. Things did not look right. They did not look in sync. On the first couple drives, a lot of, runs from Jalen Hurts that just were not going anywhere. A lot of, bad passing, little bit of everything that just wasn't right. And we saw it in the game against New England. We saw it again last night, that Brian Johnson's play calling, especially in the first part of the game last night, was not very effective. Brian Johnson still is yet to come to any form of rhythm in the play calling and offensive coordinator role that he is in now, which was one of the concerns this year coming into the season. Hey, I am on vacation, but the work never stops. And there is no beach at this resort, actually. There's a huge picture of a beach on the resort website, but there's actually no beach here. So it's just pool time. Nice float in the pool later today. But yeah, it wasn't pretty. Brian Johnson just hasn't been able to get into a rhythm. And something even though we went on and he switched to a run-happy offense, DeAndre Swift ended up with 28 rushes, 175 yards, and it was super effective. There's still something just disjointed about the offense so far. Something a little concerning about how the offense is playing so far. And I can't quite put my finger on it. Is he just not sure? Is he unsure of himself with the play calling? Or is something else off there? I'm not sure. Or maybe it's just because other teams have an idea on how to stop Jalen Hurts a little bit more. Maybe that has a big factor into it. But there's nothing that you can really say about the fact that DeAndre Swift had such a big game last night. Pretty much as soon as they decide to commit to running the football with DeAndre Swift last night, as soon as they made that commitment, everything turned offensively. I mean, the Vikings had no answer for stopping DeAndre Swift. And we've talked about it for years. This offensive line is built for run blocking. And the offensive line did their damage. We always say, Howie Roseman and the Eagles' philosophy is build the trenches. Where was this game won? Obviously with DeAndre Swift, but it was really won by the blocking from the offensive line in the run game. It was won on the defensive line, getting pressure at Kirk Cousins. Those trenches is how we won that game. But it does not stop, even though we were effective running the football. And eventually, Jalen Hurts got into a little bit of a rhythm passing the football because it was opened up by that running game. That you can't ignore that there's still some issues with this offense so far. And I can't figure out how to put my finger on the issues with the play calling or the disjointed feeling that you get when you watch this offense. It's like, obviously, no preseason games. They first 2 games since playing in the Super Bowl, there's just no flow or rhythm. What were they doing in training camp and in the OTAs? That is just something that just feels off. Now, it might be different feeling from those that were watching with sound. We didn't have sound on at the bar. There was a live band playing last night. What's up, Adam? How are we doing this morning? How are you feeling after last night's game is the big question. Maybe there's a different feel, from those that watched it, in a much more controlled setting than I had here, but it just felt off. And it could be because of the lack of training camp snaps in preseason games. It could be Brian Johnson. It could be that this Eagles offense has been figured out. And when we go up against much tougher defenses, maybe we will have more problems. But we got a longer week. It was really weird to have the home opener on a Thursday night and, have a short turnaround so quickly in the season. But I guess now at this point, at least we have, a longer stretch of time to continue to get the rest of these guys healthy. Kenneth Gainwell, Reed Blankenship, Nakobe Dean's on IR, so he's going to miss 3 more games. But James Bradbury, get these guys healthy and turn it around next week, week 3 against Tampa Bay. We also have so many road games to start the season. It's really weird. I'm getting off subject here, but it's really weird how this start of the season and the schedule is written for the Philadelphia Eagles. But at least we now have time. And Nick Sirianni needs to sit down with Brian Johnson and Jalen Hurts and really talk about what's going on and how they can clean this up. You're not going to be able to run the ball with DeAndre Swift 28 times every single game. And Jalen Hurts, you don't want him running 12 times a game. And he's just not effective running the football this year. The play calling wasn't good, but the second half it got better. It did. I mean, that's what happens when you play at Veterans Stadium. You get a little shaky at first. I missed it because there's no volume, but I guess Al Michaels got caught calling after the halftime, the Eagles Stadium, Veterans Stadium. That was kind of funny when I saw that this morning. But Jalen Hurts, when he's run the ball and those RPOs and those pullbacks, he just does not seem as confident in doing it as he did, last year and in other years. It seems very disjointed. It seems like he's misreading. It seems like he's misreading the RPOs. It seems like he's misreading some plays. Are the fan base salty from this win? There's a very weird, Marshawn. I was perusing Twitter this morning before getting ready to go live here, and there's a very mixed reactions from the fan base. There's some people that are like, hey, it's a win. It's a good win against a good Vikings team. We knew exactly what we had to do. What did we talk about yesterday? Controlling the time of possession and controlling Justin Jefferson so that, you're not going to stop him, but just keep him out of the end zone. And we did those things for the most part yesterday. Did he even get in the end zone, Justin Jefferson? No, he had the 11 catches, 159 yards, but no touchdowns. Okay. Obviously, this is a big deal right here, Adam. What you think of this A.J. Brown situation, him and Jalen Hurts getting a little heated sort of on the sideline, and, Nick Sirianni having to step in. Some people are going to say, that it's no big deal. Other people are going to make a big deal about it. It's, to me, my opinion on the situation is let's just monitor it. Adam, I've never been shy to say that A.J. Brown's a diva and could be a problem at some point if he doesn't get the touches. And in an offense like this, it's hard to spread the ball around. So not everybody's going to have 100-yard games every single game. So it's something to monitor, but I'm not ready to overreact and blow it out of proportions like other people are at this point. Jalen does look hesitant to run. He could go to the edge and stretch it, but he cuts back into. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. He does look very hesitant when he has to pull it down and go. He pulls it down at the wrong time. There was one play last night where he pulled it back, and DeAndre Swift had a wide open, lane to run through, but Jalen kept it. It was like a 2-yard run. Like, he's hesitant to run, but he's hesitant on making those decisions. He's getting beat up so much so quick. You can almost see that he looks like he's already in like week 12 in the way he's moving around. Like he's beat up already. And the way you stop that is you just don't call those kind of plays. It's pretty simple. Don't really think much of the AJ Jalen situation. Once this team gets rolling, it will be all flowers, as Nick once put it. It's true, Marshawn. Once it gets clicking, but how long is that going to take for it to get clicking? And will more situations like this arise? AJ Brown, like all wide receivers, is a diva, and he wants the ball in his hands. He wants to put up the numbers because the more numbers you put up, the more money you get paid. It's just something to monitor. It's something to think about. Don't blow it too far out of proportion, but let's also not forget that situation is there. Good morning, Stephen. How you doing? Love this team so far. Gritty and finds a way to win. Look, a win's a win in the NFL. I mean, we're 2-0. You know what I mean? We beat a good Patriots team on their home opener, and the Vikings, they're not 0-2 bad. They're good statistically team. I mean, look, we gave up over 300 yards to almost over 350 yards to Kirk Cousins last night, which is pretty typical for him. He just doesn't find ways to win. What would you rather have Jalen Hurts put up 360 yards and lose the game, or is it the opposite? Would you rather 190 yards and win the game? That's all that really matters. What's up, Eric? How you doing? Do you think Jalen is fully recovered from that Bears game last year? Do you mean the injury? Maybe he just seems off. Even when he's thrown, like, who said it? Marshawn said that he's hesitant to run. He seems hesitant on the throws too. He just doesn't have that same bounce in his step that he had last year. So to me, that's even a bigger concern than the A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, disagreement. We're just going to call it a disagreement right now. I saw one play where Hurts tried to run and Goddard was wide open for a first down. He's misreading a lot of plays right now. And I don't know if maybe some of that's part of Brian Johnson. Maybe part of that is that he's not comfortable with the play calling as it's going yet, and that's becoming part of the issue. That very well could be part of it, Adam. So what I've learned from this team in 2 weeks is that they find ways to win. Defense bailed the offense week 1, and now the offense. Yeah, I mean, the defense didn't play as bad as people think. It wasn't great. It wasn't pretty. You knew they were going to put up yards with so many injuries, but they still played well. And Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Josh Sweat, obviously, that defensive front, monster game from them. Eric, what I fear from Jalen is not so much the physical, but more the mental aspect of running and get. Yeah, I mean, maybe he is worried. Maybe he is. I don't worry about his mental toughness, so to say, Marshawn. I just worry that if he's not in sync with Brian Johnson, when you're calling plays as an offense coordinator, when you're the quarterback and you got to call that play in the huddle, there's got to be 100% confidence in what's being called through your headset. And if he's not 100% confident, that's where some of this, mental part of it and this breakdown happens. Maybe. What's up, man, Chatter? How you doing this morning? It was a huge game from DeAndre Swift. I have not heard about the Avonte Maddox injury yet. Again, I'm down here in Cancun. I had no sound on the TV, so I'll learn about that over the course of the day here. I could see him putting too much pressure on himself and thinking about the contract. Dude, we've seen it before in all sports that sometimes the pressure of the big contract gets to people, and it's going to take him a little time to kind of accept that and come to grips with that. Maybe Jalen needs time to digest what he's saying. Again, a lot of tapes on him and this team yeah, exactly. All what you said there is accurate. And look, if him and Brian Johnson, now they've got a 10-day gap approximately to the next game, they need to get on the same page somehow. That's what they got to do. They got to find a way to get on the same page. Defenses are catching up with the RPO plays. They are stopping Jalen running outside, and our pass protection has been – the pass protection, Bobby, is spot on. I mean, They blocked running the ball fantastic, as they always do. It's the best run blocking offensive line in football. But a lot their offensive, their pass protection wasn't great last year either. Honestly, if you really sit down and look at the tape, the thing was Jalen was able to get rid of the ball fast. He was able to, read that blitz and where it's coming and get rid of it so quickly that he didn't get sacked as much because he was so quick. Now this year, he's a little bit more hesitant. It's almost like he doesn't know who's going to be where. Like he's not on the same page every play with the wide receivers and Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert's been wide open so many times in 2 weeks and just been missed. Seeing rather than saying. I got that. Let's see here. Here of a running back in 100. I mean, look, you think the Minnesota Vikings are missing Dalvin Cook? I mean, Madison, who was the backup, for so long and always was a great little spot fill-in. He eight carries for 28 yards last night, 3.5 yard average. He's definitely just not Dalvin Cook. I mean, you can't run against this defensive line anyway, and you knew they were going to pass a lot anyway with the injuries in our secondary. So Bucs and Washington have good defense. This offense will need to be better. Running the ball is so important in terms of time of possession, resting the defense, and getting the O-line reps. Look, what did I say yesterday, Marshawn, on this show? I said, win the time of possession, we win the game. It sounds cliche, but it is. And I had it up, but we didn't just win the time of possession. We dominated the time of possession yesterday. We wore their defense out. We kept them off the field. Even though when they were on the field, they were very effective. It just, we took care of business there, and that's what you need to do. Swift may be better than I thought. Well, I knew Swift was better. Swift's a great running back. It's always been one thing. It's been simple about him staying healthy. And if he could stay healthy, then he could put those kind of numbers. Just imagine the fact that DeAndre Swift had 2 rushes week 1. Like, seriously, does anybody doubt that Kenny Gainwell is not as good as DeAndre Swift anymore? I mean, like, if next week Kenneth Gainwell's back and healthy and he touches the ball more than DeAndre Swift, we got a serious issue with the play calling. I want to see more creativity with the run game. I think if Nick or someone comes forward to the team, it's got to a primary focus and run the ball. That not only, it's very possible, Eric. I don't know what it really comes down to Jalen Hurts and his confidence right now. Running the ball does take pressure off Jalen. And I don't want, like, you look at the box score last night, DeAndre Swift obviously had 28 very effective runs, but Jalen Hurts ran the ball 12 times. Boston Scott had 5 carries. Rashad Penny had 3. Okay, do we really need Jalen Hurts taking 12 runs? Taking 12 extra hits? I mean, he was also sacked 4 times last night. So that means he was tackled at least 16 times. And it doesn't count any times he was knocked down, like the big touchdown to Devontae Smith, he was knocked down. I don't need Jalen Hurts getting hit 20 times a game. And, he doesn't have happy feet per se like Carson Wentz did at the end of his time in Philly. But maybe the getting hit is starting to already wear on him, and that's a problem. This is interesting. Do we have an identity yet? Eric's saying we need one. Do we have one? That's a very interesting question. And what is the identity? It's probably a run-based offense. It's not pretty, but it's effective. How did the Vikings get? Well, ask their GM. I don't know. Swift did have some shady vibes last night, Eric, for sure. I definitely had that bounce that's like Shady did. Would you rather AJ or Devontae have JJ numbers? And exactly, I said this at the very opening of the show. Like, do you want to win ugly or lose pretty? I'd rather win ugly than lose pretty. It's a total spot on point there from you, Marshawn. Throw a pillow. Yeah, she's outside reading. She likes to read in the morning. Sanders was not that good versus the Falcons. Yeah, the whole entire team wasn't. If anyone watches Swift and Gainwell and thinks, Bobby, the Eagles might need it. I don't know. I'm telling you, if this next week, if this comes out and Gainwell plays and he's not, giving the ball to Swift regularly, we got a problem here. And who's making those decisions? Is it just Stoutland, who's the run game coordinator? Is it Nick Sirianni? Is it Brian Johnson? We need to make sure DeAndre Swift is touching the ball regularly in this offense. Our identity so far is run game and stopping the run, taking the ball away, and kicking huge field goals like Jake Elliott does. That 61-yarder last night with a few inches to spare, monster kick right there. But that's not like, is that an identity? Maybe the identity Davey, no, we do not have a Hurts problem. What we have is a lack of continuity between Jalen Hurts and Brian Johnson, in my opinion. Maybe Gainwell's name has something to do with being running back one, and yeah, it's a name thing. I don't know. I hope that's not the case, Marshawn. My take is no fun. Hurts looked good compared to the rest of the NFL coaches. Yeah, but see, the thing is, like, we really need them to get into sync. Jake is automatic from 55 yards out, basically. I mean, he's so far, Jake Elliott's the MVP of this team. He is. Davey, so tell me why you're worried. Like, because we're trying to figure that out here today. Is it a continuity issue between him and Brian Johnson? Is it play calling? Is he got to an extent like happy feet to an extent? Because he's taking, not counting quarterback hits, he was hit 20 times last night. Like, is he just already like? There were parts of the game when I saw him like jogging to the huddle or to the sideline or off the sideline. He already looked kind of like beat up. Like, is he already beat? Did his body not have enough time to heal from last year? And look, we know Jalen Hurts. He puts a lot of pressure on himself. He went back to college and got his master's. He did this and that all season. Did he not take enough time just to heal his body? And you need to heal your body when you're taking that many hits. So I don't know what the problem is, but am I worried? No, but I've got my eye on it for sure. You know what I mean? I do. We need to establish the run earlier in games that open. Exactly. Why are we worried about, inconsistent passing offense early in a game? Run that ball early and then let that open up. Like, a lot of people set up the run by passing. Got to set up the pass by running the football. I said week 3, they start by week 4, should be firing all cylinders. I hope you're right on that. I really do. Brian Johnson worries me, but so does Hurts, if I'm honest. Look, I mean, you could be honest and say that Hurts is it's a concern. They have not looked pretty. They have found a way to win every week so far. Brian Johnson was my bigger concern coming into the season, so I'm going to lean on the Brian Johnson side of that, Davey, just because that's what I talked about before the season. So I'm going to lean onto that. But Jalen Hurts does have to be better. There's no doubt about it. He's got to read the field better. He's got to read the RPOs better. He's got to read everything better because right now he is not doing a good job. Our O-line is kind of old. We got 3 guys on our offensive line under 26 years old. We got 2 older guys, and that's it on our offensive line. We got young guys ready to step in. So I wouldn't believe that we're not old. Jalen doesn't look cool this year. That's why that's actually a really fair comment. He's just not doing it. He's not doing it flat. He's not doing anything flashy yet. And that's what it's, sex sells. Passing deep balls sells. Huge runs sell. Plodding your way down the field, running the football with short little dump off passes, that does not sell. So yeah, that's a part of it too, for sure. Swift performance is why I want to Bijan Robinson or Taylor. A great running back makes this offense unstoppable. But Swift's performance last night is also why you don't need Bijan Robinson or Jonathan Taylor, mister. Swift's performance last night proves that you could put a really good running back cheaply back there, not Kenneth Gainwell, somebody that can handle the rock 20-some times a game and be very effective when this offensive line is moving. I was saying it during the game to the 3 other people watching the game in the bar last night. It was like, dude, you're the best run line in football. Just move the ball down the field that way, and that opens up so much else. Not sure how it helps your football game. Well, I mean, it doesn't, but it helps you as a man. It helps you as a person, accomplishing that. But maybe it took some of the time from the recovery of his body. He could buy for, yeah. They looked old. Okay, well, they were run blocking a lot. That takes a lot out of you. That Devontae Smith was a great pass, absolutely. And that was set up at him by the run play, the running game. Those defensive linemen and linebackers and safeties had to come up because we were just running the ball 8, 9 plays in a row. So they had to come up. And that gave Devontae Smith room to get over the top. And yeah, exactly. Like, it's not pretty, but we are 2-0. Great teams find ways to win these types of games. Not great teams like Minnesota. I mean, Minnesota put up over 400 yards offense. So great teams find ways to win. Bad teams lose those games. That's the difference. It's week 2. It is week 2. But we were a running team last year though too. Yeah, exactly. And for some reason they're starting to get away from it at first in these games. And I don't know. I think there's just something wrong with Brian Johnson. Just needs maybe some time to get into a rhythm, to find out what works, to find the right form. Everyone just assumed that Brian Johnson and Jalen Hurts were going to sync up instantly because he's known Jalen Hurts since he was 2 years old. That doesn't mean that you're going to make a good offensive coordinator and quarterback combination. Just like Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, they're best friends. It doesn't mean they're a great pair on the field. They are, but I'm saying it didn't guarantee that. So, there's some – the Brian Johnson aspect of it is where there's some room to grow the most. You guys are being silly. The Birds are fine. I'm not disagreeing. Give it 2 weeks, and I hope they will execute better. I think this Eagles team has given us, we should give them the benefit of the doubt for sure, Keith. We should give them the benefit of the doubt because they have done enough to prove that they are worth that. So we'll see in a few more weeks how this is going. On the Hurts interception, that was a bad interception. He did try to force that, who had double coat, and he had AJ over the top. Yes, absolutely. And that could have been, if AJ Brown saw the replay on that could have been part of the problem with AJ Brown there. You looked at Smitty's way instead of me, and I was open. He wasn't. Jalen Hurts has done a poor job at reading the field. He's missed last week. He missed Dallas Goedert twice. He was wide open, didn't see him. He missed AJ Brown on that play. He's just not seeing the field properly, and he's not seeing the middle of the field. I mean, you look at the passing chart of Jalen Hurts last night. Did he even throw the ball over the middle last night? I don't think. He's not reading. He's not reading it on the RPOs well either. There were rumors, Keith, that Jalen Hurts or that Howie Roseman before the season was already trying to lock him up, knowing that this was a possibility. And but if Swift wants too much money, he'll move Swift on and he'll find somebody else next year. That's just kind of what Howie Roseman does. Sanders is mid. Why are we even bringing up Sanders? He's not even playing. Did Jalen Carter play in the second half? He disappeared. I don't know. I haven't looked up the snap counts this morning. I don't know. But Jordan Davis, I do know that, had a fantastic game last night. I mean, he was getting who said he's only a run stopper? He was getting in the backfield on pass plays, and he had a sack and he had a knockdown on Kirk Cousins. It was last week. It was the Jalen Carter game. This week it was the Jordan Davis game. Give me a second. Let me see if I can find the snap counts really quickly here. I want to see Eagles snap count, and normally it pops up on Jimmy Kempski's page or one of the others. I got it off of Jeff McClain's page really fast there. Nope, that's last week's because that has Kenneth Gainwell on it. That says September 11th as well. This was 1 hour ago. Okay, so this, whatever site I'm going on here, Eagles Wire, I must be getting it on there. All right, let's see here. So Jalen, it's on defense. Evans, Joby, and Slay played 100%. Nicholas Morrow, by the way, played really well on defense last night. Fletcher Cox played a lot of snaps last night, 76%. Jalen Carter played 48% of the snaps last night on defense. Jordan Davis only played 29% of the snaps last night, but they were very effective snaps last night. So, we'll get into that in a second. Correction, the Birds are hot. Yeah, okay. Just have patience, guys. This is the beginning of a dynasty. It's not the beginning. It is the dynasty already. I don't want to see any quarterback. Yeah, we talked about this last year. We were talking about it before the year. Just, you don't need to pound Jalen Hurts' body like that. It's just not necessary. Jordan Davis has played fantastic. Let's take nothing away from him. Josh Sweat had a fantastic game last night as well. I would never take anything. And Kyle saying it too. I would never take anything away from him. The defensive line as a whole played fantastic. Milton Williams had good plays last night. Fletcher Cox is playing it. Could you imagine Fletcher Cox on this left? Fletcher Cox is playing like a 28-year-old kid again, 25-year-old youngin again. Like he's playing really well. Are you getting out of here, Mad Chatter? Well, have a good one if you are. I mean, I know it's 10 o'clock already. On your time, guys. It's only 9 a.m. here in Mexico time. So, but Fletcher Cox is playing fantastic football right now. It's really refreshing. And not just refreshing, it's surprising. Like, we all expected Josh Sweat to have a huge season. We were hoping Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter had big seasons. But Fletcher Cox, I don't know if anybody really expected what we're seeing out of Fletcher Cox. I don't think we expected this much. He's in the backfield all the time. He's making big plays. He's out there playing a lot of snaps. He's playing very effectively when he's out there. I'm surprised he was on the field for as many snaps as he was. I mean, Hassan Reddick played less snaps than Fletcher Cox last night. That by 5. That's That's shocking. I'm looking at the snap counts here. Dark Barnett, he played 14 snaps. Avonte Maddox obviously got hurt. We're going to have to learn what's up with Avonte Maddox. We better hope that James Bradbury comes back soon. Eli Ricks got 1 play on defense. Sidney Brown had 4. And let's give some credit to the linebackers. Zach Cunningham played great last night. Nicholas Morrow played better than I thought he would, I guess. I wasn't expecting much. I mean, I couldn't wait to cut him. And in a pinch, he stepped up and played really well last night. Nothing special, but played really well. I mean, you think about it, we got crushed by TJ Hawkinson on that first drive. And then the rest of the first quarter, all second, third quarter, till the late in the game, we were playing mostly prevent defense. They were able to hold TJ Hawkinson pretty much locked down there. So that was a really solid performance from a very underwhelming linebacker group. Sweaty celebration is perfect. Yes. We don't talk about Avonte Maddox and his injury stuff very much. But him and Dallas Goedert always get hurt. So it's something that is, needs to be discussed more, but doesn't get talked about. The key to stopping Hurts is the passing game, is to play zone defense. That way you keep eyes on him if he scrambles. Defenses that play zone. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a very fair statement from you, mister, right there. Justin Evans made some Justin Evans played. So a lot of the guys that I was down on after week 1 or in the preseason actually played pretty solid last night. A lot of those guys did exactly what they needed to do to kind of prove their worth to an extent. Justin Jefferson is so generational. And I know everybody's going to talk about his fumble out of bounds and how it's a stupid rule and stuff like that. And it is a dumb rule. Don't get me wrong. But it's a rule. And it's been a rule that's been around for as long as we know. So, you got to take the good with the bad. But Justin Jefferson, you couldn't stop him. You were never going to. Even if James Bradbury was out there last night and Avonte Maddox didn't get hurt last night, you weren't going to stop Justin Jefferson. You were just going to hope to contain him. I said it. I said, win the time of possession battle, keep Justin Jefferson out of the end zone. And what did we do? We dominated the time of possession. We kept Justin Jefferson out of the end zone, and we won the game. So that's very, 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 very good. Did you see? Yes, I thought he was. It did look like he had slowed down. It did look like he was not running full speed there. Adam saying Maddox left the shoulder and Quez left the hamstring. Yeah, I saw the hamstring. I don't know, how serious either injury is at this point. As soon as the game was over, we went back to doing what we do at resorts, drinking and having a good time. And yeah, this morning I haven't really done too much reading to find out. So hopefully Quez is okay, because we really don't have much at wide receiver right now. And Vontae, you better hope he's back soon, because with James Bradbury out, for who knows how much longer, you really need him out there. And Josh Jobe played okay. He got a little out of spots. He showed his inexperience last night, Josh Jobe, a few times. But you're also going up against some great wide receivers and a quarterback that knows how to pick apart teams' defenses. And you, to an extent, it was like a bend, don't break defense. You gave up the yards, you gave up the points, but not too many where you couldn't win the game. So how many rules are there that benefits the offense? It's not a dumb rule in terms of the discrepancy in rules that favor the offense. I think that's an interesting comment right there. It's a rule. It doesn't matter whether they change rules every year. They do. And they've never changed this rule. So it's not something that's going to change anyway. So I think it's pointless to even argue about it, which I'm going to get to rules in a second. But, it's kind of like in basketball when you do the when a shot clock violation happens after you grab a rebound, they blow the fast break dead. It's just not going to change. To think about it, though, last night, they tried. That rule has not been changed. The NFL tried to outlaw the tush push. And yet again, we had the tush push, touchdowns last night and first downs a few times. It's like, instead of trying to find a way to stop it, all people did was try to cancel the rule instead of trying to find a way to stop it or find a way to do it yourself. And the tush push still scoring touchdowns for us and getting us first downs. He can't. And we've talked about this so many times that, he's a great slot corner, one of the better ones in the NFL, but he's not out there. What did they say before the season? You can't make the club from the tub. Well, you can't be an effective part of this team if you're always in the tub. It's crazy. Yeah, the tush push has everyone still at arms. Exactly. But yet, instead of trying to find a way to stop it, or instead of finding ways to utilize a very effective play yourself, you're you're just going to complain about it. And that's so annoying. Nolan Smith, I saw more in Nolan Smith week 1 than last night. Let me pull up the snap count back up. Nolan Smith, how many plays was he on the field last night? He was only on the field defensively for 6 snaps, 10% of the defensive snaps. That's kind of surprising. We've gotten after the quarterback, but not actually gotten home a lot, and a lot of sacks. Where is Nolan Smith? Like, what's the plan with Nolan Smith here? Because I'm not sure they even have a plan with it. To a degree, the Pats did the tush push long before the Eagles. Yeah, the Tom Brady was actually very good at the tush push. He was not a running. So it's not like you do the tush push because you got Jalen Hurts. Any quarterback with a great offensive line that can generate push and some strong legs from the quarterback to power through, that's all you need. It's not like because Jalen Hurts is this great running quarterback, that's why it's effective. Any great offense could effectively run the tush push. So, find a way to stop it or find a way to utilize it yourself. Stop complaining about it, people. I hope we could back to something that resembles Shane's scheme. Look, I appreciate the comment. Thanks for checking in. The loss of Shane Steichen and Jonathan Gannon, and I know we don't like Jonathan Gannon, but they're bigger losses than people realize. We're about 36 minutes into this show, guys. We are at, where's my screen here? Only 12 likes so far on YouTube, 5 on Facebook. Hit that like button. It's free to do. It helps the algorithm greatly. I'm live from Cancun, Mexico for you guys, so the least you can do is hit that like button for me. Time to draft Avonte Maddox replacement with his injury history. They might already have his replacement. I mean, they got a lot of young guys. I don't know if Josh Joby would be better in the slot than the outside. You got Ringo, you got Ricks, you got a lot of guys. Goodrich, who played okay. I mean, nothing bad, nothing great. But you can't keep relying on Avonte Maddox when you've already got a banged up secondary and he goes down. He just can't tackle without getting hurt. The plan with Nolan Smith is let his shoulder heal. That's very possible, Keith. Maybe his shoulder is still a little too banged up. But if that's the case, Keith, maybe he just shouldn't be playing, period. I know you can't, sell it to the fan base that your first round pick isn't dressing because he's banged up. So they're dressing him because of that. But yeah, I mean, maybe the shoulder is a bigger problem than we let on. Hold on, Nolan Smith here. Let me see something. I just want to read one thing here. So he's not playing much on defense, but he was one of the top guys. But he played 12 special team plays. So he was out there probably on punt team, and he was probably on kick team too. So he is at least playing in that aspect. And that was kind of what Nakobe Dean was last year. Nakobe Dean stayed as a special teamer most of the year, filled in a few plays here or there. So maybe they're just easing him into it. And the shoulder could be a part of it too. If I have an issue with the tush push, it's not the pushing part, but more so the rugby-like formation and getting really low. But I'm glad my team is benefiting from it. I mean, it's just part of the game. I don't agree. I mean, the rugby part, that's just finding a play that works. Are they going to, pick any other play? Say some team mastered the flea flicker or something like that. Are they going to eliminate the flea flicker? Say a team masters the jet sweep. Are they going to eliminate the jet sweep? Look, if there's a play that's working, you keep running it until a team can figure out how to stop it. It's hard to stop, but you could do it. Maybe have Nolan play linebacker, not edge. His speed could be. Yeah, I saw somebody talking about that on social media yesterday afternoon. Maybe Nolan Smith should start at outside linebacker or something like that, just to get his athleticism on the field a little bit more. But like Keith said, maybe it's the shoulder. Maybe they're just easing him in with the shoulder a little bit more. Brian Johnson should more mimic Steichen's play calling from last season instead of trying to reinvent the wheel. Absolutely. And so maybe, he needs to, sit down this week and really think about what worked. Sit down with Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni. What worked, what doesn't work. Look, Brian Johnson, he's never done this before in the NFL. So there's going to be growing pains, and we've seen them through 2 weeks. But as Peanut says here, a short week and we won, and the beard is in Cancun, all life is well. Exactly. We are 2-0. Good teams find ways to win. It's plain and simple. Remember when the Wildcat was the hottest thing? They didn't exactly. The Wildcat was such a new, creative, innovative thing that no one had done effectively before. And it was so effective and everybody loved it or hated it. But you know what? It went away because it was a long-term thing. But it went away because teams found ways to stop it. Um, they stopped it, and that's how it went away. No one's stopping the tush push. So why stop using it? Why outlaw it? Every good team loses coordinators. Great teams find ways to make it up. Also, Hurts needs to set up and tell the coordinator. Exactly. And I don't think Jalen Hurts is a guy to be shy about his opinions. He won't do it publicly. He'll do it privately. And since they have such a great personal relationship, he shouldn't feel worried about going to him and telling him what he wants and what he thinks they should do. But they've got a long week now, and they really, really need to like hone in on what's working and what's not and figure it out because, yeah, we got Tampa, we got Washington. We're going through the easy part of the schedule. We're making the easy part of the schedule very difficult. So when we get to the hard part of the schedule, we need to have this clicking on all cylinders by that point. What an amazing weekend of football after getting this done. Exactly. I'm not even going to worry about football the rest of the weekend. This is the last show till I get home on Wednesday morning. We'll do a show. But I'm not even watching football on Sunday. It's going to be chilling, enjoying vacation, and those kind of things. This is it. This is it for football and trending for me for a few days. I'm going to really try to take it easy the next couple of days. Have you been to Sammy Hagar's Club, Cabo Wabo? No. I don't leave the resort. When I come to a resort like this, there's everything here. There's 4 restaurants, 6 bars, giant pools, great service. I've got a beautiful oceanfront room here. I don't leave the resort when I come down here. I just stay in the resort, enjoy the amenities at the resort, enjoy my time with my wife. So that's what I try to stick to on these vacations. I don't really get into the going out on excursions and checking out the towns and stuff. Since Jalen got paid, Eagles trying to protect Jalen from injury. So play calling is going. But JoJo, and I appreciate the comment, JoJo, I kind of feel like they're not protecting him, though. Like, I feel like they're calling these RPOs and he's trying to protect himself, maybe. I don't know. Like, he's very ineffective or very indecisive on the RPOs and the runs. And he's run into a lot of trouble a lot of the time. So I don't know if they're protecting him. I think maybe he's protecting himself, maybe. I don't know. Jets-Cowboys could get interesting for Dak. I mean, the Jets defense played great last week against Buffalo, so we'll see. And if the Jets with Zach Wilson beat the Cowboys, man, maybe I will watch that game because, man, the Jets beating the Cowboys would be fantastic for all those Cowboy fans that are just like, oh, well, you guys suck because you can barely win. We won 40-0 week 1. So that would be a very, very interesting play there. Oh, that's not coffee. So anyway, again, we're at 14 likes now on YouTube, guys. Make sure you hit that like button. I greatly appreciate it as we continue to go live here from Cancun, Mexico. What else from this game stood out to us? Let me take another dive here into this box score. Obviously, we've talked about the A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith stuff. We've talked about DeAndre Swift, receiving the ball. I mean, are we surprised that Rashad Penny was used so minimally last night? Are we surprised that Boston Scott had more touches than Rashad Penny? I don't know. I don't know what the plan is there with him. Britton Covey, again, had a nice return. No, he didn't. He had a fumble last night. Are we concerned about Britton Covey maybe a little bit? I don't know. Aaron Sipos, another game with a very poor average from punt returning or punting. We're going to have to, see some things with special teams there for sure. But anything else that stuck out to anybody? Terrell Edmonds played really well on defense. Zach Cunningham was all over the field on defense. I was really impressed with those guys. I've already given Nicholas Morrow a lot of credit for what he was capable of doing last night, considering I had little to no confidence in him whatsoever. So that's where I am with that team right there. It's really going to be an interesting week. Really interesting to see how this team next week, when we come out against Tampa next week, responds to all this adversity, because it's crazy. We're 2-0. We're the reigning NFC champions, but there's a lot of controversy coming happening right now with a team that's won so many games. It's really interesting to see. So what they need to do this week is they're going to need to work on cleaning all this up so that they can have a clean game, a clean win. Look, Tampa Bay next week, they got a great defense. They're kind of like New England in the situation where they still have a great defense. They just have terrible offense. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they clean this up, because look, the fans are going to overreact. fans always overreact if it's not. Who said it earlier in the show? Somebody said it's not pretty yet, so that's why everyone's overreacting. Well, they kind of need a pretty game to get the fan base back on board. And we talked about it yesterday. People are already jumping off the Jalen Hurts bandwagon. Like, seriously, I guarantee Dan Sillyman will make some kind of a comment today about how bad Jalen Hurts is because he's overrated. I had somebody last night on Twitter telling me Jalen Hurts is massively overrated. So they need a pretty win. And the way they do it is they really got to find a way to get this offense clicking. Because let's be honest, the defense, even though they gave up 360 plus yards to Kirk Cousins last night, considering the injuries on defense, the defense played really well last night. And they played pretty solidly in week 1 as well. It seemed like they only used Penny to give Swift a breather. Yeah, it's true. And I'm not sure why. I'm not sure what the plan is with him. They didn't dress week 1. He barely was touched the ball last night. Like, we didn't joke, but we talked about earlier in the offseason, like Penny was kind of like he was going to be the guy. And all of a sudden Swift became available and Penny became an afterthought. So it's kind of interesting. Keep winning. The Clowns will be back on board. The Clowns will always find a way to be negative. That's all it is. The Clowns will always find a way to be negative. Johnny Vegas, yeah, make sure you hit that like button. And Slay tried his best, but I think Justin Jefferson's unguardable. Still a great cornerback, though. Yeah, I mean, look, we talked about on the show yesterday that you're not going to stop. No team will stop Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson, actually, in my opinion, might be the best player in the NFL. All on what he's capable and how unstoppable he is. Quarterbacks, defensive players. He doesn't get the credit because quarterbacks get all the credit. Obviously, the defensive ends that get all the sacks get all the credit on defense. Justin Jefferson may be the best player in the NFL. The goal is just to contain him. And I know it's crazy to say when he had 11 catches. 11 catches, 159 yards. That's containing him. He had 13 targets, so he's going to catch a lot of balls. His average was under 15 yards a catch, so that's effective. He only had one pass caught of 30 yards. So I think that's a very effective, job of stopping him. And we talked about stopping T.J. Hockenson. And outside of the first drive and the last drive, we were able to hold T.J. Hockenson under control and in check last night. So they put up a lot of numbers. They put up a lot of stats, but they lost. We didn't do it pretty, Johnny, but we won. Do you care? Like I said, I think who said it earlier in the show? Somebody in the comments said, "Do you rather win pretty, or lose pretty, or win ugly?" And winning ugly is still a win, and that's where the Eagles are. Yeah, Hurts is overrated. Let's run it back with Wentz and Foles. Exactly. Look, I'm just going to leave this comment up for a second because there's so many people there are a lot of, and not just Cowboys fans or non-Eagles fans. Like there's Eagles fans that must have really believed this after 2 games, that they're ready to jump off the Jalen Hurts bandwagon. He got paid. He just doesn't care. And it's ridiculous. It really, 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 really is ridiculous at this point that people are actually thinking this. I still wouldn't want anybody else leading this team. Now, can he be better? Sure. He has not played like last year. He's looked a lot more like 2021. And we talked about the fact that he could have had some negative regression this year. And what was a successful season for Jalen Hurts? Facing some adversity this year and how he comes out on the other side of the adversity is kind of a win for Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is still very young. We got a long time with Jalen Hurts here in Philly. And if he can win while learning how to overcome this adversity this year and grow as a quarterback, big picture, we're still, we're better off. Yeah, losing pretty is always better than winning. Winning ugly is always better than losing pretty. I don't want to be the Kirk Cousins led Vikings. You know what I mean? Like, I don't. Maybe Cowboys fans' overreaction syndrome is contagious. Now, Eagles fans have always been overreactionary. Philadelphia fans have always been overreactionary. So it is what it is. But, yeah, sorry, Jojo. Look, I'm in Mexico. I'm on vacation here. You know what I mean? So the tongue ties are even more frequent. Just don't ask me to say Albert O's real name, which he has addressed anyway. So, it is. But, we're an overreaction fan base. Sports is overreactionary. That's what it is. We try to have logical conversations here on this show, but it is what it is. But Jalen Hurts learning how to win in these adversity moments like this, and every single year. I mean, Tom Brady had bad years. Peyton Manning had bad years. So, it's finding ways to win. But they always found ways to win and get to the playoffs and make deep runs because they were great leaders and they were great quarterbacks. He's growing and learning. This is the first time really since 2021 that he's faced any adversity as a quarterback. So he's gonna keep getting better. He's gonna keep learning from this massively. The same guys who say Hurts is overrated would say the same about if she didn't cook. Yeah, exactly. Or they're just guys that are people with agendas. Like I'm sure, man, like I said, Dan Sillyman or Chris Simpleton is going to have something negative to say about Jalen Hurts tonight, and you're going to see all over social media about the AJ Brown and AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts argument on the sideline. That's what they're going to focus on. They're not going to focus on the win. They're not going to focus on DeVonta Smith or DeAndre Swift's running attack last night. They're not going to focus on how this team came out on top in a very close game. So they're going to focus on the negative because that's what they do. And it's unfortunate. It really is unfortunate that that's the way it's going to be. But it is the way it's going to be. And, we just as fans have to keep the positive and just keep focused on that. The Philly media's already started. Absolutely, they're going to. Because you know why, Bobby? Because it sells clicks. And there's a lot of people. You got the new Philly media site. What's it called? Philly whatever. And they spent a lot of money to bring in a lot of media people there. And people from all the big sites. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to do videos on that nonstop, and that's going to stir up clicks. And clicks equal more money from advertisers. Clicks equal impressions and whatnot. I won't do it. I hope to grow my show the old-fashioned way, not by those things. But it is something. Like I said, we talked about it, or Adam asked in the beginning of the show my thoughts on it. Look, it is what it is. It is something, but it's just something to monitor right now. It's not something to overreact to, but a lot of people will overreact to it. I hate all the negativity from some of our fan base. You're the mod on that page. I mean, I know, and I see some of those posts on that Facebook page, Kyle. It's disgusting. It's a pain in the ass. I don't know how you are an admin there because it's got to be so difficult to handle that. I'm disappointed Goddard hasn't broken any tackles and got some of the. Well, he's got to be targeted a little bit more. He's not getting the ball frequently enough, and he's not getting the ball in space enough. And Jalen Hurts is missing him on a lot of reads, not passes. Like he hasn't overthrown Goddard or anything like that. He's just missing the read on Goddard. Goddard's had a lot of opportunities in the 2 weeks. He's just not being found. And I think that out of anything, if I'm going to have any concerns with Jalen Hurts, it's that he's not reading the field very well this year. That was one of the things that he needed to still continue to improve on. And he's actually regressed in 2 weeks over last year on finding the soft spots in the defense, pulling back the ball when he needs to or not. He's kind of making a few mistakes, but he's learning, and hopefully he's growing from this. Philly media and fan base are the saltiest about winning. Exactly. And they were pissed he left and didn't talk to them after the game. Who did? Sorry, as soon as the game was over, I was out of the bar. I didn't watch any of the pre or post game shows. I don't even know what's going on with that. So did AJ Brown not talk, or I'm guessing? Media will try to make the Hurts AJ thing like McNabb TO ordeal. Oh, absolutely they will, Johnny. Without a shadow of a doubt, they're going to try to turn it into something like that. Hopefully the friendship between the two, hopefully the professionalism between the two. AJ left. Okay, I gotcha. I don't see it becoming as big of a deal as the McNabb TO ordeal, but it's something to keep an eye on because, AJ Brown, I said it before, AJ Brown is a diva. He's a big, big ego. He thinks and knows he's one of the best wide receivers. And, he sees Justin Jefferson getting 13 targets in a game, and he wants that. But he also wants to win. And I think in the end, that'll win out. We played a lot of pretty games last year, including the Super Bowl, and yet we still lost. Do you think Mahomes and the Chiefs are complaining about that ugly Super Bowl win? Absolutely not, Marshawn, because you know what? A win is a win. That's all that matters. And I'm less worried about the AJ Brown, the Jalen Hurts thing out of anything over the first 2 weeks. That is on the bottom of the pecking order, in my opinion, of problems or things to worry about, things to talk about. We are talking about it, but it's at the bottom of the list of most important things to discuss. Like it really is. Like it does not worry me anywhere near as much as it does anybody else, because there's so many other problems to worry about right now. The difference is Hurts and AJ are close friends. It is, and if you remember when McNabb and T.O. first joined up here in Philly, they pretended to be like best friends, like they were on TV all the time, giggling and laughing and doing commercials and interviews together. But it wasn't a real friendship. It wasn't a real like connection there. Like AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts have been friends for a very long time, and it was just more him voicing. Look, I mean, the Jalen Hurts interception, which was a bad throw, bad read, bad throw. AJ Brown was wide open over the top, and AJ Brown was just frustrated because AJ Brown's a perfectionist, just like Jalen Hurts, just like half this team is, and he just wants to make sure Jalen knows. Now, I don't want to see Jalen Hurts forcing the ball to AJ Brown. Because that's when you start forcing the ball, that's when even more mistakes happen. But Desperate Housewives T.O. commercial, yeah, I remember that. That was that Monday. Was it a commercial or was it like the intro to Monday Night Football when he's in the locker room and he's like, I'll be out later because the one girl was there. That's funny. I forgot about that till then. I don't even remember that girl's name. Anyway. Travis Kelce and George Kittle always get yak yards after the catch. I thought Goddard was on their level. We got to get him the ball in the right place. Goddard's not on Travis Kelce's level. I don't think George Kittle is on Travis Kelce's level. Travis Kelce is on his own level. Kittle and Goddard and Waller and Ingram and Hockenson, they're all on the second level. Which, speaking of Travis Kelce, like, and we talk about the Philly media and how they're always stirring up problems or just not. Did I read on social media that one of the media members of the Philadelphia media members after the game last night, instead of asking Jason Kelce about the game, one of them had the gall to ask Jason Kelce if his brother was officially dating Taylor Swift or not last night. Like, is that what we're really talking about? Are we really talking about that over something else? Like that to me just goes to show what this Philly media has turned into about clickbait and stuff like that, where they care more about Taylor Swift and Jason Kelce's brother versus the game that we just watched. What's up, K1? How we doing this morning? Goddard needs some more size, too. I mean, Goddard needs to stay healthy, too. I mean, we talked about Avonte Maddox today getting hurt a lot, and Dallas Goddard gets hurt all the time. We're up to 25 live viewers right now. Make sure you're hitting that like button. We're only at 16 likes on YouTube, 5 on Facebook. Make sure you hit the like button. The more people who are liking it, the longer I'll stay live here. This will be the last show till Wednesday next week when I'm back home, back in my regular routine. But I'm going to enjoy the rest of vacation here after this show today. That missed PI call on AJ was terrible. The reffing on both sides, like we got called for some things that shouldn't have been called for. They missed some calls on our side. The refs missed some calls on the Vikings side of the ball too, on things that should or shouldn't have been called. So the reffing last night, I'm not going to blame the reffing for anything, but it definitely wasn't very, very clean, the referee job last night. So it was Tony Gonzalez asked about that. Okay, not Philly. Sorry. I just saw the question. I assumed it was a Philly media member because that sounds like something, but that's even worse. It's a national media guy. My question is, how was Marshawn? How was Jason's reaction to it? Like, did he just like stop? I'm out of here, or did he fake chuckle on it? Because I can't imagine Jason Kelce wanted to answer that question in that situation. Robbed AJ of a touchdown that would have made everyone happy. Absolutely. AJ Brown had 2 touchdowns called back last night or missed opportunities because of penalties. So, look, we made some penalties last night. Got to clean that up. You should be ebullient this morning. I'm happy. I'm just a little tired. Not tired, just, it's been maybe I'm just relaxed. It's vacation mode right now. This is vacation mode me right now. Very, very chill. Bobby saying, what about the 61-yarder? I mean, I said it earlier in the show, Bobby. Jake Elliott is the MVP of this team so far, without a shadow of a doubt. I don't think anybody is as effective as. I mean, Jake Elliott's one of the best kickers in football, and we're lucky to have him. And we joked last week or 2 weeks ago. Someone put in the comments, "When will the conversation is Jake Elliott greater than David Akers?" I mean, I don't think I was seeing David Akers hit 61-yarders all the time. So. Maybe it's time to say that, and that he's the best kicker in Eagles history at this point. He just laughed it off and gave a vague, no comment answer because it's Tony in primetime TV. Gotcha. And Jason's got to keep that, that national image as well up, too, as well. So, look, it's just a stupid question at a stupid time asked, and there's no need for that. But that's what the media does. They're more focused on those kind of things than actually the game that was being played. So that is what that is. Jake Elliott is greater than Justin Tucker. I mean, over the whole career, I don't know yet, but man, I mean, Justin Tucker's probably hitting 60-yarders still too. Does Justin Tucker still play for the Ravens? I don't even know. I don't really keep up on my kickers around the NFL. The Vikings didn't get a penalty called on them until late in the third quarter. Their offensive linemen were holding all night. They were. There's a lot of missed holds on that. And yeah, let me pull the box score back up here. Team statistics, penalties. It's very hard because my ESPN page is in Spanish now, so I'm trying to translate this stuff here. It's not penalties on their page when they translate it. It's punishments. So the Vikings had 2 penalties for 15 yards. We had 7 penalties called against us that were accepted. So that's not good enough. Eagles got to clean that up for sure. Al Michaels still, yeah, I didn't catch it obviously during the game, but I saw it after the game on replay, and I was like, yeah, Al Michaels, it might be time for him to be hanging it up. I know. Amazon paid him Prime paid him a lot of money for that switch to NFL games to Prime, but man, it's not working. We'll just say it's a Freudian slip. We all do it, but man, from what I've read, he did not call a very good game last night on the TV. Jason just do it Amazon Prime doc, so maybe he's playing. Yeah, exactly. And I haven't seen the Jason Kelsey documentary yet. Haven't seen any of it yet, but I will at some point. I've heard it's very good, at least whatever of it's out there. The Josh Sweat hold on that touchdown was horrid. They call Penny on that hold. That Penny hold was such a weak soft call. I mean, maybe there was a little bit of a hold there, but if you're not going to call the hold on Josh Sweat, you can't call that hold on Penny there. That was just inconsistent refereeing across the board there all game. $1,000. That would be fantastic. I'll take $1. I'll take $1 super chat for a vacation right now. I haven't watched the doc either, but look forward. Yeah, at some point I'll get to it. So at some point it will be watched. But with that being said, the Eagles, like I said, they won. Ugly, but they won. Looking forward to this longer week. Like, we won't do a show again until next Wednesday. We're going to need to hear a lot from the coaches, a lot from the media, a lot from the players about how to get this team better, how to get this team, on the same page. And it's going to come down to Brian Johnson and Jalen Hurts getting on the same page. I'm never watching that doc. It hurts too much. It's true. It's a fair point. A.J. Brown need to chill, relax. Yeah, I mean, it's. I hated the start of the schedule. How he started on the road. Week 2 had to play Thursday night football for our home opener. And I think 3 of our next 4 games are on the road again. Like, the schedule didn't seem right. It just didn't seem fair to defending NFC champions. But this longish week here, because we played on Thursday night football, couldn't have happened at a better time. It gives the Eagles plenty of time to figure out some of these problems that we're having, work out the kinks, get some of these injured players healthy, and get cranking for week 3 through week 3 through 6 till we face their first real tough test in the New York Jets. So I'm still happy with what we have outside of our secondary. I think we are top 10 everyone on the field. I think we're top 10 even in our secondary at times. Justin Evans played better last night. James Bradbury being hurt, it's a big deal. It was a big loss. And Josh Joby didn't have a great game, but didn't have a bad game. But our secondary is good when healthy. The problem is, are they going to stay healthy and long-term enough? AJ will be fine. Great playmakers want to make plays. Absolutely agree with you, K1. Without a shadow of a doubt, he just wants the ball. And he doesn't. I don't even think he cares if he doesn't get the ball. It's when mistakes happen. And I think the interception that Hurts threw was probably one of the points that he was just trying to make. You got to make sure you see me, because I was open on that play. He just doesn't want to see the team fail. And there were some concerns, throughout that game. There were points of that game you're like, shit, we might not win this game. And A.J. Brown was just firing it up, So it's nothing to worry about at all, at least not yet. It's just keep an eye on it. That's all. Smitty ain't even thinking about what wide receiver number he is, because he knows he's MFA. I like that. It's a great comment, Eric. When AJ gets that maturity, he'll unlock his potential in this offense. I think AJ's fine. I'm not worried about it. Not worried about it at all. It's equivalent to last preseason game. Sloppy, but now we have 10 days to prep for regular season. Yeah, I mean, we've got time now. We got time to get ready. We got time to get healthy. and just figure out how to get Jalen Hurts and Brian Johnson, because that's the key. Everything that we've talked about today, it all comes down to Jalen Hurts and Brian Johnson getting on the same page. Brian Johnson figuring out what works and doesn't work, making a strong commitment to run the ball to start the game, and that opens it all up. Look, you complain about Dallas Goedert last week, A.J. Brown this week, who's getting the ball, who's not getting the ball. But look, Hassan Reddick last year, 16 and a half sacks, didn't have any in the first 2 weeks. He's got none in the first 2 weeks this year. Doesn't mean he's not going to have a great season. Devontae Smith didn't touch the ball in week 1. And he had 100-plus yards and a touchdown last night. So, it is what it is. Oh, Baker Mayfield. Yeah, we got Baker Mayfield next. That's real scary for our defense. No, but, hey, we made Mac Jones look like Tom Brady. So, Baker Mayfield might look like Tom Brady next week. Who knows? Every football team I've ever played on had wide receivers crying about not getting the ball. It's annoying. Just play the damn game. Yeah. Look, wide receivers are divas, period. All of them. It is what it is. They all are. And they just want the ball. So I don't have a problem with it. Now, if I bumped into Brian Johnson, he getting RKO'd on site, look, I'm going to warn him that he might get RKO'd. How about that? We'll start with just a warning, and then we'll go from there. Because, yeah, he's just got to be better. And we talked about it in the offseason that the biggest concerns were with the new coordinators and whether they were going to be able to handle it. Brian Johnson, first time in this role, and Sean Desai, second time, but first time on a non-disaster of a team like he was with the Bears. So they both have, and even Sean Desai, we played good, but he can be better. People are giving all the crap to Brian Johnson, but it's not like Sean Desai's defense pitched a shutout last night. We won the game, but he gave up over 400 yards. So the coordinators have to be better and get a better rhythm. Wide receivers are open every play. Yeah, according to them, they're open by 10 yards on every single play. K1, I comprende on that one for sure. All right, with that, we're going to wrap up this show. I think we're going to call it a day on the show. I think we're going to call it a week. We're going to just continue the break till next week here on the show. But the Eagles, like I said, they got a big win. A win's a win, whether it's ugly or pretty. At the end of the season, if you have the number 1 seat, it doesn't matter whether you did it pretty and won every game by 25, or if you just won every game by 2. As long as you get that number 1 seed and you win more games than you lose, that's all that matters. And we just got to see this team continue to grow, continue to gain some consistency amongst themselves, and we'll see this team where it goes. Why is everything we do gets compared to what the Niners and Cowboys do? Let's wait until we play them. Yeah, it is what it is, man. I'm not worried about them right now. I'll worry about them when they get in front of us. We are befit without bro now, and we have to troll. So, yeah, you keep trolling Sills and tell him he's always welcome to come on the show so I can crush him for his bad takes. Thank you, Adam. Much appreciate it. We are going to do some major relaxing today for sure, without a shadow of a doubt here. But everybody have a great day. Eagles win. That's good. We'll be back next Wednesday, back at our normal 8:15 time. We'll be talking all different things. Who knows? We'll see what happens. We're getting closer to baseball season. We're getting closer to baseball playoffs, and we're getting closer to basketball season starting. So eventually we're going to have to start mixing that stuff into the show as well. That's right. Peace out, my man. And it is Victory Friday, so I'm going to go have a cocktail or two in honor of our birds here today, poolside. I'll rock my Eagles hat. We'll see how many people come up to me and what kind of comments I have heard. Make sure you hit that like button. Whether you're watching this now or on replay, hit that like button. 17 likes on YouTube, 5 on Facebook. Likes help massively with the algorithm. They help everything grow on this show. So I greatly appreciate everybody's time this morning. Appreciate you all listening in and chatting with me today. We're going to end it right there. Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. I am Phil Stiefel. Make sure you shoot me a follow on all social media at Beard and Knowledge. And we'll talk to you guys next week. Enjoy your weekend. And enjoy a weekend with no Eagles football. And, yeah, we'll see you next week, guys. Go Birds.